Hello once again, my twinkling stars, and welcome back to yet another episode of your evening Reddit readings. I am your host Dusk, and in this video, we'll be looking into r/PettyRevenge, where the smallest of victories are won in the pettiest of ways. In this video, we'll be reading about how OP deals with the mailbox smasher, how cats can be useful for once, and the reason why your socks disappear. My sister lives in a rural area and has recently been plagued by having her mailbox smashed in twice in 1 month. Someone was playing mailbox baseball and she was one of the victims. She asked for my help and was worried about staying within the law to protect herself. I told her that we could figure something out, so I went to Home Depot and purchased 2 identical steel mailboxes, the traditional kind with a rounded top. I took one mailbox and glued a layer of 1/16 foam underlayment to the inside. I filled it with concrete, making sure to add the appropriate rebar with a curved handle sticking out of the end. Once everything was set, I cut off the outer mailbox shell and used the torch to burn off the film underlayment still stuck to the concrete. What was left was a slightly undersized concrete plug that would perfectly fit in the second mailbox that could be inserted and removed. You see, my sister is afraid of snakes. By inserting the concrete plug into the mailbox at night, it would give her the peace of mind that a snake can't get into her mailbox. I installed the second mailbox and informed my sister how the anti-snake concrete plug worked and explained that the best time to put it in the mailbox would be at night. Strangely enough, one morning, there was a mark on her new mailbox and a bunch of small glass pieces along the road. Hypothetically speaking, it was a kind of glass produced by someone swinging a baseball bat, having it bounce off a mailbox, and smashing a car window. On a positive note, her mailbox has remained snake-free. I will never understand the motives of people who go around smashing people's mailboxes. Is it supposed to be fun? Is it supposed to let out some pent-up frustration? Either way, I've seen and heard enough stories that anytime there's a mailbox smasher involved, it always ends up with the person bringing something of their own as soon as a new mailbox is installed. However, most of these stories are usually found in PettyRevenge, since most of the stories end up with the mailbox smasher breaking their arm. I suppose this mailbox smasher is lucky enough that the only damage on their end was a broken window. I have been working for the past 2 weeks straight at work, getting up at 4 in the morning to get there. Yesterday was my first day off, and I was looking forward to sleeping in and catching up on my sleep. My mom, however, had other plans. It wasn't even 8 in the morning when I woke up to the sound of a vacuum going off right outside my bedroom door. I was shocked that my mom was being so inconsiderate, but more than anything, I was mad. I wasn't able to get back to sleep, so I gave up and got up for the day. My mother, on the other hand, did the exact opposite. As soon as she was done with the floor, she sat down in the recliner and napped almost all day long. There was only so much inconsideration I was going to take, so I told myself I would have my very petty revenge. You see, my family has cats, half a dozen to be exact. And every morning before I leave to go to work, I'll give them some breakfast so they don't bother my parents and wake them up at 4:30 a.m. I sleep with my door shut most of the time, while they have to leave theirs open because they have the litter boxes in their bathroom. This morning, when I got up to get myself ready for work, I ignored the cats, ate my breakfast, and shut myself in my room to watch some anime before leaving for work. Not even before I get dressed, my mom was knocking at my door, asking if I fed the cats. I told her no, and I could hear a big sigh coming from the other side of the door before she said that I should really feed them before they wake her up. I know that once my mom's awake, she has a hard time going back to sleep. I smiled to myself the whole way to work this morning, knowing she was most likely up for the rest of the day. What a hypocrite. A person that wakes up just to wake you up on a day you're trying to catch up on rest, just to fall asleep herself. At first, I thought you were going to get your revenge on her when she was asleep on the recliner, but then you had to bring up the cats. Knowing how noisy and demanding cats are when it comes to the meals, on top of the fact that it was 4 in the morning, I think it's safe to say that you've caused a much bigger catastrophe on her end, rather than getting revenge on her during her cat nap. My ex used to get mad at me for using his socks. He would tell me I was irresponsible for not keeping up after mine and then using his, only to misplace the pair I borrowed, or having it dirty and not clean it immediately after using it. "What if I wanted to wear that pair?" he would ask. Mind you, I maybe borrowed 1 or 2 pairs a month, and it was just in between laundry days. And on the rare occasion that I had noticed that we were low on socks, I would just buy a couple of packs. He got so fed up with me one day that he came home with 6 packs of socks. He gave me 4 of them and kept 2 for himself. He told me that I will not be touching his socks. He made sure they were a different color and style so he would know if I grabbed one of his. Fast forward to a couple months later when I found out just how much of a piece of garbage he was when he drinks. I moved out less than a week later and I took every single sock in that house. I deep cleaned a couple days before leaving. I found every sock I could. Under the couches and beds, some fallen behind and beside the washing machine and dryer. I did all the clothes and even went through his car, clothing drawers, and gym bag. I made sure there was not one single sock left in that house when I left. Sometimes when I get ready, I think about what I did, and I smile. Screw that piece of garbage. I think it's safe to say that if there's one thing to be said in this story, it's this. No sock is safe from OP's wrath when it comes to petty revenge. The fact that OP deep cleans the entire house just to make sure they got every single sock instead of just taking the packs their ex recently bought is a testament to their commitment when it comes to pettiness. Wait a second, so that's what happened to all my missing socks whenever I wash them. It all makes sense now. And with that, the sun has set on yet another episode. If you enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like and comment below on how many socks you've lost to OP's wrath, or your own story of petty revenge. Finally, help support my channel by subscribing to stay tuned for any upcoming videos. It's fast, it's free, and you can always change your minds later. Until next time, my twinkling stars, have a good night.